cancel culture is about canceling it.
Up yours. Woke moralists. Up yours.
This is systematic bullying that's happening.
And they believe that
Woke
Cocaína.
Never had a gun, but it's the wax that the Terminator X run. Now they got me in a cell cause my records ain't sell. Cause a brother like me said, well,
it's born like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this, which yells you a new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that puts against the bed. This that I got realness, I just push cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA.
They seem animalistic is what I mean.
No, they're worse than animals.
the woke mob, they ruin everything.
They stopped Ben Shapiro from going to events and speaking. They stopped Ann Coulter from doing it.
I will never surrender even a single inch of ground to a pitchfork mob.
You never cave to the mob.
We will never bow to the mob. Ever. No matter what.
Do you see the final expression of cancel culture in terrorist groups like
We'll see who cancels who.
They want you to comply.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Look at who's here. Baby Bender.
This is Effie. She's half asleep right now. Maybe she wakes up for a second. There you go.
Look at that hair. My God.
She's got a full head of hair, just like
wow.
her dad.
She's adorable.
And so far, so good for the broadcasting. She debuted on the Majority Report for about 20 minutes earlier today. And luckily, we got lucky with the pacifier and her sleeping and being fine. So let's try it out here, too.
Her tiny
also, I'm
face,
helping
I can't
out
get
because
over it.
Mom is doing the bedtime with the other two right now.
That's a lot. You've got your hands full. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm so glad that we're doing the show because people were asking what's going on because there was a stream that was set up beforehand. And see, I was running late and it was just Mike in here. And Mike was like, where is everybody, apparently? And apparently David's watching a hockey game. Rebecca is working. Ariana has, personal matters with her family she's attending to. Mm-hmm. And Lance apparently is too important for Leftist Mafia. He's over on his own Twitch stream.
No, Lance was here. Lance was here. we were like, me and Lance discussed it. We're like, well, it seems like not enough people can come. Might as well just cancel. Come back next week. It's hard to do a show with just like a couple of people. Especially if you're already tired like me. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do the show today. So we're like, we'll just come back next week. And then Matt, I was just about to take a fucking nap after we're like, let's just fuck it, let's cancel it. And then Matt's like, no, let's do a show. So we're doing a show now.
Didn't make sense.
You should be more tired than me, motherfucker. You have a child. A newborn child.
I've been 24/7, honestly. So if you want the history before we get into news of my week. So her due date was Friday. And
this Friday. So tomorrow.
It was this Friday. Tomorrow.
Wow.
That was the due date. But the doctors did not want Mom going past the due date. So this baby had to be out by the due date. And we were crossing our fingers she'd come before the due date. But at the same time, my daughter had her dance recital on Saturday night. So a major thing we were crossing our fingers was before the due date, not the same day as the dance recital. Right. And so luckily we made it past the dance recital. We were going to the regular doctor appointment on Tuesday, and then it just all started to happen. And the doctor sent us to the hospital. And about 4 hours later, she was here. And she did me
Damn.
a solid because Tuesdays are the one day where neither of my kids have an extracurricular activity. No dance class, no soccer practices. So she must have known because it worked out perfectly.
It worked out well, yeah.
Yeah. And then we were at the hospital. Well, I left the hospital to do some things with the other two kids for a few hours, but I spent both nights at the hospital. We came home this afternoon, literally right before the majority report. I saw there was a good 30 minutes left in the majority report, and I was like, I can't be sitting home with the majority report on. Let me bring the baby on. So I think Effie made history as the youngest ever majority report guest this afternoon.
Wow.
And here we are now.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. She's very adorable. Congratulations. She's very, very
Thank
cute.
you. Now
You
I
did a
guess
good
we got to
job.
talk about. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now I guess we got to talk about breaking news, right?
Yeah. I had a different thumbnail for our old stream before I canceled it about I figured we'd talk about the LA protests and Donald Trump's response.
I mean,
but
that's still
yeah,
super relevant though. That was the big
Yeah.
story all week, literally up until like a few minutes ago. And honestly, I think it probably will continue to be the big story of the week after this breaking news.
I'm sure.
Hopefully subsides. Hopefully, I mean, we've seen. So people don't know. Just moments ago, maybe like an hour ago, Israel bombed Iran, and we do not want that, obviously. But this is also something that Israel has done before. And I'm not saying that in order to say no big deal. I'm saying that as this is Israel's strategy to goad Iran into attacking them and basically forcing the US into taking action. And the last time they did this, Iran played it smart. They did do some retaliation, but it was very soft targets. It wasn't anything crazy. Just basically so they could show their own people that we didn't take this lying down. It's for people who aren't so in tune with foreign politics, it may sound crazy, but this is the truth. Iran is being the level-headed side here. Israel is trying to goad Iran into attacking them. Netanyahu, for decades, has been saying Iran is trying to get a nuclear weapon or whatever. He's been saying this for decades. This has been his reason to start war with Iran for decades. The goal of Israel is to by doing this is to goad Iran into retaliating in a way that makes the U.S. step in. My hope is that doesn't happen. My hope is that Iran continues to play it smart, does another round of, if they have to do something at all, another round of soft targets, just so they could say they did something to their own people, for their own people. And that's that. Hopefully the Trump administration does not join Israel in attacking Iran. We don't want that. This is obviously bad. I mean,
Trump is saying you're on your own to them, but that's bullshit. I think that Netanyahu is much more savvy than Donald Trump, and if he wants to, if he could really goad Iran into doing a sufficient response, then Trump would absolutely step in. I think that the entire Republican Party, as well as his defense contractor donors, would screech at the top of their lungs until he did do just that. There is a little bit more information that's coming out. And again, this is anything that we say about what's happening, take with a grain of salt, because these things usually take a while to be confirmed. So news agencies, they just try to report ASAP, and then sometimes it's unverified. So just keep that in mind. But apparently, the Israeli PM just confirmed that Israel struck their nuclear enrichment facility in Natanz. There's also reports of apartment buildings being bombed and the entire Iranian guard being taken out. So there's a lot of things floating around that are unconfirmed, but what we do know beyond a shadow of a doubt is that Israel just offensively attacked Iran. This comes as Trump is trying to negotiate another JCPOA type agreement with Iran. Netanyahu has been trying to stop that because he doesn't want that agreement, because that would make war with Iran much less likely, which Israel wants. So he's trying to sabotage that. Trump is too stupid to understand what Netanyahu is doing by permitting them to do this attack. There's a lot of like moving, chess pieces right now. But as Matt was saying, I hope that this doesn't lead to anything super significant. But I think that the moral of the story here is that if you're Iran, why would you not want a nuclear weapon now? Because you have the entire Republican Party and some Democrats wanting to invade you. You have Netanyahu salivating over the prospect of a full-out invasion. He just struck you. Like, they want a nuclear weapon for a deterrent. And the IAEA, for the first time, said that Iran, and this is for the first time in, I want to say 2 decades or so, don't quote me on that, it's the first time that they were not in compliance with their enrichment levels. But I mean, if you're Iran, I don't blame them for wanting a nuclear weapon. Nobody should have a nuclear weapon, but I don't blame them for wanting one for deterrence, given how many threats that they're facing from terrorists like the United States and Israel.
Right. I mean, you're gonna see the U.S. media act as if Iran is somehow the aggressor here, even though this is Israel clearly attacking first. You're gonna
they're calling it a preemptive strike. How Orwellian is that?
It's if they strike first, they are the aggressor. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Yeah.
A preemptive strike. Insanity.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to hear this bullshit.
Listen, Israel clearly has. I don't want to use this phrase because it's not like they ever weren't like this, but they've been especially like this in the past 2 years. Israel's gone rogue. Again, I don't know what all the word to describe a nation that is acting the way they do, even though I don't feel like rogue exactly fits either. But they are a danger to global safety, honestly. It sounds for people who have been told their whole life that Israel is the US's friend or whatever, and that they're the only democracy in the Middle East. You need to stop lying to your eyes. You are seeing the videos of Israeli missiles striking a country that has not done anything to them. You see the videos of Israel attacking people in Gaza who have nothing to do with whatever attack, whether it be, October 7th or any attack before that, ever on Israel. People who have nothing to do with any of that. Israel is the aggressor on them, wiping out women, children, men, all innocent. There is something deeply wrong with Israel right now, at the very least. The country is being run by a fascist right-wing party led by a fascist right-wing leader. If you will recall how this is the example I keep using. If you will recall how the United States was under the George Bush administration right after 9/11, literally invading countries who did nothing to us, lying about them having weapons and we're going to use those weapons to attack us, and wiping out hundreds of thousands of innocent men, women, and children. You are seeing that with Israel. And somehow, in some way, what Israel is doing and the way Israel is carrying this out is even worse than what the U.S. was doing. And that's not to downplay what the U.S. did. What the United States did was horrendous. I'm saying it's worse because what Israel, as bad as what the U.S. is doing, Israel has somehow found a way to make it even more horrendous. And they are not stopping with their Afghanistan. They're not stopping with their Iraq. That was Gaza. That was Lebanon. We are now seeing them go even a step further than the U.S. did and go after a third country now. If you are someone who stood up against the George Bush administration, and that was a lot of people after the Iraq war started. Bush is one of the most unpopular presidents in my lifetime in those final years of the Bush administration. If you were there then and stood against Bush, there is no way you can support Israel and what they're doing because they are currently being led by someone even worse than George W. Bush. And the society in Israel is somehow now even worse than what the U.S. was post 9/11.
Yeah. There's some additional news here. So this is per Drop site. They're sharing sources from Reuters and whatnot. So it's increasingly likely that the Iranian general staff, including the chief of staff and senior nuclear scientists, were killed in Israel's opening strike on Iran. And on top of that, this is just from a couple of minutes ago, there is huge explosions now in the city of Paran Shara in Iran. So this is ongoing. They are bombing Iran as we speak. And this is the video. It's about a 6-minute video put out by Israel's internationally wanted war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu, where he takes credit for the terror attack on Iran. I'm not sure how much of this you want to watch, but basically, if you've been following Israeli politics, this guy has been warning us for a very long time now, more than a decade, that Iran is this close to getting a nuclear weapon. And so because of this IAEA report, I think that kind of emboldened him. Not that he wasn't already planning this, but we can watch a little bit of this just to see the way that they're trying to spin this. And we already know, like, they're saying it's preemptive, which is hilarious. But nonetheless, I'll play this for a little bit just so that way we can get a sense of what this dipshit has to say.
ישראל, גרוני אמנם ניחר הערב,
Is this not English?
אבל קולנו נשמע ברמה.
Okay, it's not English. I'll click translate post, just see. Okay.
Is that going to be the English version?
Video, though? Yeah, I was just curious. Sometimes they say some wild shit. Okay. All right.
He probably has maybe he has a separate account for the English one.
Yeah, there might be. Okay, never mind. I'll try to find the video and bring it up. I don't want to scroll on Twitter because I might come across a dick and get us banned. Or actually, there's some titties just now. Okay, good thing I closed that window. Let me see if I can find the actual.
Mike? Who you following?
I mean, you don't have to follow anyone to see nudity on Twitter.
That's true.
Let's see here. Okay, I don't know if this is it.
It's all right. Take your time. This is a laid back show today. No rush. We get to the video where
we probably won't do a full stream, just FYI for people watching. This is kind of just like an impromptu last-minute thing. Okay. I believe this is it.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with
the audacity of
right.
the modern-day version of Adolf Hitler to accuse another country of using genocidal rhetoric.
Rhetoric can be genocidal, but don't you dare call the obliteration of an entire people in Gaza a genocide. That's blood libel. But you can call rhetoric from another country genocidal. It is it's truly frustrating to hear this guy and the rest of the Israeli government spokespeople say the things they say, and the U.S. media fucking lap it up and repeat it verbatim. It is, and support it. It is truly disgusting. It makes you think you're going crazy. You know, I continue playing the video.
Yeah, one thing that I'll say real quick, before I forget, is that this is also Donald Trump's fault. Israel absolutely is the aggressor here, but Israel would not be able to do this without the green light from the United States. So all this bullshit about Donald Trump being this like peace president, all those people now need to shut the fuck up, because he is permitting Netanyahu, the leader of a client state of the U.S., to do something like this that could feasibly lead to World War III. Hopefully it won't come to that, but like this is a massive escalation. So whatever happens from this, understand Trump is culpable too, because Israel would not be able to do this without the blessing of the United States government. Just keep that in mind, and don't let Donald Trump try to pretend like he's not also guilty here, because he is. He can say to Netanyahu all he wants, hey, you know, we're not going to help you here, but we all know that without the United States government, Israel would not be able to do something like this. The reason why they're doing this is because they're emboldened. They know they will always have the U.S. government support.
With a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium for 9 atom bombs. 9. In recent months, Iran has taken steps that it has never taken before. Steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear...
Right, and this is a really important piece of context that the media for some reason never talks about. Under the JCPOA that Obama negotiated, the International Atomic Energy Agency verified multiple times that Iran was in compliance with that agreement, and they were. And Republicans hated that agreement because they wanted to invade Iran. They've been wanting this for decades. Remember back during the 2008 election, I remember John McCain singing "Bomb, Bomb, 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 Iran." It's been something they've wanted to do. So the Republican Party and some Democrats like Chuck Schumer, to be fair, hated this agreement because if Iran wasn't going to enrich to the point where they can build a nuclear weapon, that takes away the main justification to go to war with Iran. So Trump got in and he tore up that agreement. And now all of a sudden he wants back in. For whatever reason, it's nonsensical. The fact that Iran is even negotiating with him shows you how much more reasonable they are than we are. The fact that Biden chose to not get back into that agreement with them also makes him culpable here, because Iran extended an olive branch to the Biden administration. They did not bite. And now here we are. Trump, at the last minute before this happened, was trying to formulate an agreement with Iran after getting out of it. So, like, the stupidity here has to be stated. And now we have this dipshit right here chirping about how they're super close to getting a fucking nuclear weapon. You want them to get a nuclear weapon. Like, this idea that they're on the cusp of getting a nuclear weapon enables them to do all this shit. It's like a justification. It's sheer fucking insanity what we're seeing here.
We should add that, and this doesn't, like you mentioned, all the reasons why this is Trump's fault as well, obviously. So what I'm about to say obviously isn't to give Trump a pass here, but these are the facts. For, like you said, for some reason Trump is now trying to negotiate with Iran. Israel does not like that. The reason this attack happened right now is because the Trump administration is in the midst of these negotiations with Iran. That is making Israel very unhappy. So their hope is that they attack Iran and Iran retaliates and it blows up the negotiations between the Trump administration and Iran. This is very purposeful for them. I think I know I'm speaking to mostly people who should know what's going on, but my hope is that some clip or YouTube's algorithm or something somebody says, whether it's us or someone else on some other stream or some other video about Israel, and it makes them rethink things. But Israel is doing what it can to endanger not just the people in Iran with striking over there and Lebanon and Gaza, they want to pull the United States of America into a war.
Yep.
Ostensibly, that means people, United States citizens, and for me, it doesn't matter whether you're a citizen of this country or not. A human being is a human being. But I know there are people who, unfortunately, a lot of people in this country don't look at it that way. U.S. life above all. That's not me, but for those people, Israel wants to endanger U.S. lives by pulling us into a war with Iran, which who knows where that'll lead to, maybe even a greater war in the region. This should be avoided at all costs. You should know exactly who is doing this. It's Israel. And the U.S. media is not telling you this. Your favorite party, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, are not telling you this.
There's some updates here that I want to get to. Again, take everything with a grain of salt because this is breaking news. And sometimes these things aren't accurate. But the first report of a confirmed casualty is a child. It's a little boy in Tehran. I'm not sure if it's in Tehran, but it's in Iran. On top of that, we have a report from a Washington Post reporter, John Hudson, who says that a U.S. defense official says this attack, which Israel says will continue over multiple days, so this is the start of a major offensive, will provoke a significant Iranian response that the Israelis will then ask the United States to help counter, despite the fact that it just blew up the delicate U.S. diplomatic talks. So what Matt just said there is absolutely correct. The goal here specifically is to pull the United States in. Israel cannot go to war with Iran without the United States. It would just be too destructive to them. They have a very capable military, obviously, but they can't do it without the U.S. So they want a full-scale war. Like we're talking Iraq-level invasion. That's what they've been goading the U.S. into for a very long time. And Trump is the one president who is stupid enough to actually take the bait because he doesn't, like, first of all, he doesn't care. He's very transactional. It's just about what benefits him, what doesn't benefit him. So he's stupid enough to probably believe, oh, I'll just let Iran do this on their own. And that's that, America first. That's not going to happen. There's no way that's going to happen. So, yeah, this could be really bad, especially depending on how much more attacks we see. If it's going to be a multi-day attack on Iran, the response from, like, what they're trying to do is make Iran respond in such a significant way that the United States won't be able to ignore it. Because when Israel and Iran were doing the tit for tat, what was it? Sometime last year, I want to say, back when Israel started that too, by the way, they were more minimal in their scale. But if Israel can basically goad Iran into a massive retaliatory strike, so that way they appease their their society, so that way they're not thinking, oh, well, we can't just ignore this. I feel like that's not making sense. Let me rephrase what I'm saying, because this is important. Like, Iran has to respond in some way, right? They can't just let Israel attack them and do nothing. I think that the country would be pissed off. They want to see at least some retaliation. But if the strikes on Iran are so significant from Israel, then Iran will feel more pressure to respond proportionally, which will be more aggressive and less limited, and that would provoke the United States. I hope that makes sense, because like Israel very clearly is looking for a specific kind of response from Iran, and not the more limited response that was basically a PR response like last time, right? Israel wants something big, and it's clear that that's what they're trying to provoke. I hope that I said that clearly. Sorry.
No, absolutely. Pull this tweet up. What you said is absolutely clear. Pull this tweet up, though. I want to drive this point home. It's in the private chat.
Okay.
Can you zoom into the... All right, so this is Democratic Senator Chris Murphy. Israel's attack on Iran, clearly intended to scuttle the Trump administration's negotiations with Tehran, is further evidence of how little respect world powers, including our own allies, have for President Trump. What I'm about to say is in the defense of Donald Trump. But Chris Murphy here is fucking out of his mind. He couldn't be more wrong. This is not the point to walk away with, because let me tell you right now, if the Biden administration was in Donald Trump's shoes, Israel would have done the same exact thing to the Biden administration.
Right.
And the Biden administration would have fucking done nothing. They would have took it on the chin from Israel, just like the Trump administration is going to. In fact, I have a little bit more faith that the Trump administration might not do the same thing, and not much faith, but a little more faith than I would have in the Biden administration, just because Trump's ego might cause him to actually be so pissed that Israel did something without his permission. The point that you should see here is that this supposed ally of ours, Israel, is not an ally. They don't care if it's the Democrats. They don't care if it's the Republicans. They don't care if it's the Trump administration. They don't care if it's the Biden administration. They are going to do what they want. They're going to try to pull the United States, because we, for some reason, think we are their allies, when clearly they view us as nothing but a lapdog that does their bidding. And they're going to send us into, like I mentioned before, into a war that will potentially take U.S. lives, that will definitely take lives of innocent people in Iran, just like it's taken the many, many lives of innocent people in Lebanon and in Gaza. Israel, the message you should take away here is that Israel is a rogue nation. They are not an ally. They are not acting like a Western democracy. We can argue about how a Western democracy acts. I would argue maybe they are acting like one, but in the sense of how the average person has come to believe that the Western culture and Western democracy, like the United States of America, is the good guy in all scenarios. They are the ones in the wrong. They are being led by a far-right government that has essentially taken them to where they are now, where they are attacking everyone and everybody, and claiming that they are the victims here. Israel is not our ally. Any sort of belief that Israel is our ally is going to end up costing the lives of Americans. That is a warning to anyone who will listen. That's just what it is. Chris Murphy, if this is your takeaway here, you don't belong in politics. You don't belong to be a senator. You don't deserve to be a senator. You are an idiot, honestly.
Yeah, it comes off
There's
as
no
very
different. There's no
hacky.
different than what the Trump and what Netanyahu was doing to the Biden administration for the past 2 years. This is no different.
Yeah, and if you look online, you can see that Israel is already sounding the alarms, both literally and figuratively. They're blaring their sirens in certain cities, and they've stated that they are awaiting a response from Iran. In other words, they're saying, Daddy US, please come and protect us. Come save us. We're under attack. We're vulnerable. Do something. So, like, it's so obvious. Like, they're so clearly trying to pull the United States in. And it could happen. Like, United States war with Iran, I don't think people understand the scale of destruction that would cause. It's just truly, it's inconceivable. So the fact that, like, things are so bad now and we're this close is it's really alarming. Like, this could lead to World War III. I hope it doesn't come to that, but, like, with the severity of this and with how far Israel is going, it's hard to not imagine this devolving into a really broad regional war. And that's scary, especially because, there's already a genocide going on in Gaza. And so to add a regional war on top of that, like, it got close to that with the escalations between Israel and Lebanon when they started to bomb all throughout fucking Lebanon. But thankfully that died down. But this is just like a whole nother level. It's really hard to fathom what could come of this.
So Marco Rubio apparently put out a statement practically begging Iran not to retaliate on the U.S., saying how U.S. personnel and U.S. military had nothing to do with this. It is a statement I don't think I've ever seen before from
oh wow
from the U.S. It's pretty incredible. Hold on,
wow.
Where did I just see it?
I think this is it, right? This is from the White House, but they're sharing Rubio's statement.
You want to read
Tonight,
that,
Israel
Mike?
Yeah. Tonight, Israel took
This is from Marco Rubio, by the
Iran.
way. Just to make it clear, this is from Marco Rubio, Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Yeah, I'll read that first sentence again. Israel took unilateral action against Iran. So they're trying to distance themselves from this. By the way, I think you're naive if you think that Israel acted alone. They absolutely at least had intelligence from the United States. I mean, the fact that like Israel's a lone actor here is fucking insane. Of course, Israel wanted this, but they could not have done something like this without the United States. At least their blessing at a minimum. Anyways, we are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region. Israel advised us that they believe this action was necessary for its self-defense. President Trump and the administration have taken all necessary steps to protect our forces and remain in close contact with our regional partners. Let me be clear, Iran should not target U.S. interests or personnel. This is a weird fucking statement. I've never seen anything like this. Wow. That's very strange.
You know, the question I have is, you know, we so often hear that Israel has a right to defend itself. Does Iran have a right to defend itself?
No, not in the eyes of Israel or the United States. Anything that they do will be seen as aggressive and offensive by definition. So if Iran does respond, understand that, and the media will go along with it as well.
And if
it'll be that Israel's the victim.
If Israel is doing a preemptive strike to Iran, why can't it be argued that Hamas was doing a preemptive strike on Israel 2 years ago? Because we know that the month right before September 2023 was one of the deadliest months in Gaza because of IDF Israeli forces activity. Why does it always go one way? Why is it that Israel is always allowed to carry out attacks and they're doing it in self-defense, even when it's done before they're attacked, but no one else can claim the same? Israel is always the victim and never the aggressor, even though they're always the aggressor and very rarely the victim.
Yeah, there's some comments from Republicans now who they're absolutely as deranged as you can imagine. Lindsey Graham tweeted out, "Game on, pray for Israel." I'm sure that for the first time in a very long time, Lindsey Graham has been able to get an erection, probably rock hard right now. And then we have Ted Cruz, equally as idiotic as Lindsey Graham, who's on Hannity. And let's hear what he has to say.
It's also, Israel in many ways, I think you can argue, Senator, is doing the world a favor. And if you go back to the 80s and they took out the Iraqi nuclear sites, it almost went undetected. You might recall that the Syrian nuclear program was in play, and they were able to fly under the radar, take out those sites. Very few people even noticed or paid attention. And I know there's been a lot of back and forth because this is Iran and what Iran is going to do. There's one thing that I would argue. This is happening because our former president, that would be Joe Biden, he literally turned a blind eye towards the sanctions that were bankrupting this country. And by doing so, he literally has enriched the country of Iran. He's given them money to foment terror, given them money to build out their nuclear facilities even further. And that leads us to this moment where we are today. Now, it's also
deranged. All right, we didn't hear from Ted Cruz, but Sean Hannity had enough stupidity.
You could even hear how he's delivering that, like, very, like, unsure of what he's saying. Like, it's not the usual Sean Hannity broadcasting, like, tone. Because it's bullshit. They're just making it up as they go along. Thanking Israel for this, acting as if this is only because of Joe Biden and that Joe Biden was allies with Iran. Israel has never had it better than when Joe Biden was president of the United States. Honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. There's this update from Dropsite here. Let me put it up on the screen. Iranian state media says IRGC Commander-in-Chief Hossein Salami has been killed. Israeli strike hits Revolutionary Guards headquarters in Tehran, according to Iranian state TV. This is all ongoing right now. So, yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I hope it doesn't go any further. But it doesn't sound like that's the option here.
Yeah, this is much different than the last attack on Iran from Israel, I can't remember, was that in April of last year? I cannot remember when it was, but when they kept ramping up and they kept trying to respond and they got the last word, but Iran kind of brushed it off and said it didn't do any damage, just so that way they can, like, they have something to tell the people in their country, you know, because they can't just say, oh, we're going to take the high ground and ignore Israel's attacks. Like the people of Iran, much like the people of any country, they want to know that their government is going to defend them. So Iran can't, like, even though I know that they are going to be more measured than Israel, because they can't afford not to be, given, you know, the United States and Israel breathing down their neck. But, like, you know, they can't just brush it off and do nothing. Otherwise, you know, Israel is going to, they're going to do more, and then the population will think that the government is illegitimate. Yeah, so somebody says last April was when the last time this happened. Thank you, Lady Reverb. Yeah, I wasn't sure when it was. Everything just kind of blends together given everything that's happened over the course of the last couple of years. But, yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what the topic of the show was going to be before this breaking news happened?
Yeah. We were going to talk about the riots, the quote-unquote riots taking place in LA that Trump is using to occupy Los Angeles with. Basically, there was a large-scale ICE raid in Los Angeles, and protests broke out. And once the police got there, the predictable thing happened. Shit hit the fan because the police always antagonize and they make things worse. Trump immediately sent in the National Guard. He invoked his Title X authority to do that. The problem is that you can't do that without the consent of the governor. The governor has to request it. Actually, just before we went live, a judge said that what Trump did was indeed illegal because you cannot do that without the consent of a governor. Doesn't matter. Trump's going to do it anyway. Kristi Noem just said today that they're going to stay there to, quote, liberate Los Angeles. And on top of that, as you know, now there are Marines there. They're currently undergoing training. It's a lot. It's a lot that's happening. And what's happening is that Trump is inching closer and closer to invoking the Insurrection Act. And if this were to happen, it would basically give him access to emergency powers that he doesn't yet have. It would allow the military to arrest people as if they're police. On top of that, Trump could feasibly do a lot more things that are authoritarian. He can seize control of media companies. To what extent, I don't know. He can even potentially postpone elections under the guise of there's a rebellion and you can't do elections during a rebellion. It's not the same as martial law, but the Insurrection Act would certainly give him more powers, and that's kind of what we're dealing with now. He promised to put troops everywhere, and then there's now anti-ICE protests popping up across the country. So we're going to have to wait and see. We also got an update today that Donald Trump is going to withdraw when it comes to targeting farmers, since probably the business capitalists that supported him are mad about that because they're losing their laborers and they don't know what to do. It's hurting their bottom line. We'll see if he actually follows through with that. But, like, you know, shit's hitting the fan and it's getting very authoritarian, and now World War III is a possibility. So that's hope that was a good summary.
Yeah, no, it was. You know, you're on the West Coast, so you have probably different, because, you know, when there's a protest in a major city, it's a local news story as well. So how is your like local news covering this?
I haven't seen local news, but local news here is dog shit whenever I do see it. So I haven't watched anything with regard to this, but I can promise you it'll be basically like akin to Fox News. And Portland is the worst. During the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, that's when the DHS was basically throwing people in unmarked vans here. So people didn't know where they were taking these protesters. So, you know, what you see in LA is going to resemble what's happening in Portland. Everybody thinks that Portland is basically a war zone and has been a war zone for years now. It's insane. Usually when there's protests like this, it's usually like limited to a block or two. But what always happens is they zero in on the chaos often instigated, I should say, always instigated by the police. They start, shooting people with rubber bullets, tear gas, and then the crowd disperses. It creates chaos, and that's what you see on the television, and it gives you this impression that things are much more chaotic than they are in actuality. Most of these protests are peaceful. Like the anti-ICE protests, they are overwhelmingly peaceful, but you're not hearing about that because that's not sensationalist. It doesn't bring in the eyeballs. Like, the news outlets want to show you the Waymos on fire, and they want you to cry about the private property that's being burned as opposed to the human beings that are getting shot with rubber bullets and injured because
I'll
of
be honest,
this.
I want to see the Waymos on fire as well. So I'm glad they're covering it so I could see the video of the Waymos on fire.
Rest in peace to the Waymos.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not one of those people who is like, oh, all protests got to be peaceful. I think, rioting and violence has its place. You can't convince me that ICE violently going into communities and attacking people, ripping families apart, taking children, trying to rip children out of their schools. In some cases, they're leaving kids on the street alone after taking the custody of their parents or the guardian who's with them at the time. You can't tell me that that's not violent. You want to talk about violence?
Right.
That's the violence. That's the violence. The idea that they would do this without any identification over and over again, to the point where we're now hearing stories of criminals pretending to be ICE, knowing that this is how ICE acts, and then literally kidnapping people and assaulting them, sexually assaulting them, tying them up and robbing them. This is violence. And I'm not going to get mad at people responding in a violent way to violence in defense of themselves and their communities. Most of the protests, like you said, are peaceful, but that's just a fact. That's not me trying to paint the violent protest or the rioting as out of the ordinary or to poo-poo on them. Those people have every right to be upset and every right to act out upon them, upon ICE and the authorities for doing this to them.
Yeah, I mean, if you are being assaulted by state actors and they're shooting tear gas at you, that is literally violence. I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like we've been conditioned, not necessarily our viewers, but like in general as a society, we've been conditioned to think that violence by the state against us is legitimate when it's not legitimate. They don't have a right to do that to us. We have civil liberties and constitutional protection. So the fact that they are doing this, they're literally using chemical weapons against us. That is not okay. So that is violence right there. And the fact that we are blind to that violence and we only see the Apple stores that are being looted, but we're pretending as if like, a police officer straight up shooting a rubber bullet at a reporter as she's recording. That's not egregious in and of itself because, well, they have a monopoly on violence, so they're allowed to do that, and you just have to shut the fuck up. No. So it's disgusting.
There are so many people who are more upset seeing a few iPhones and MacBooks be stolen than seeing police officers shooting rubber bullets at protesters, at seeing ICE violently kidnap people off the streets. I don't care about property when it comes to property owned by major corporations. There's nothing there that an Apple store being looted is not going to hurt Apple in any way, shape, or form. It's not.
Yeah.
Apple does not have any sentimental value in there. Listen, I understand. I'm not for people, I'm not saying all property deserves, there's individual property, people's homes, people should feel safe in their homes, and things of value, sentimental value should be, I understand that. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a corporation that sets up a place None of that matter, and none of that stuff matters for them in there. That's just some money that they make out of the billions, and when we're talking about Apple, trillions of dollars they have. And I'm someone who likes Apple. I have all the products I have to stream here are Apple products. I think they make good products. This isn't me being an Apple hater. It's just the point I'm making here is that these corporations are not hurt by any of this. And it is truly disgusting for people to care more about that than actually what I'm talking about, the individuals who get hurt. And I'm talking about individuals. You care about property. Some people care about property. I'm talking about individuals' lives, their bodily self. That's what gets injured, and that you can't replace. Yeah, I mean, it's gross. It's absolutely gross.
Yeah, well said. I feel like that point shouldn't have to be made, but I feel like we need to make it so much more because the media just like the way that they cover this is very disgusting. Whenever you tune into and like I see clips here and there, I'm not watching it, right? But what I see from like Fox News is they'll have somebody like in LA riding a motorcycle with the Mexican flag, and they're like, oh my God, there it is, the Mexican flag, criminals. It's so hysterical. And when they work people up into a frenzy like this, they're priming people to think that violence against them is legitimate. Like, it's why they use these types of words, right? Like, they're saying this is an insurrection. That's what Trump's people are ironically saying. It's an invasion because that legitimizes violence against the people who are resisting these ICE raids that are terrorizing families. I mean, we're talking about masked thugs in unmarked vehicles who are posing as, electricity companies and going into fucking schools. And it's just not okay. It's not okay. You're going to see a response. You're going to see protests because you're antagonizing these communities.
Right. I brought the local news thing because while I was in the hospital, I was watching. I mentioned this in the Majority Report earlier today. When I was in the hospital when the baby was born, they have the TV on in the room, and so we were watching local news because there was something to watch. We were also watching CNN because we wanted to keep up with what was going on. And, I usually keep up with what's going on in the news by going online. I don't have TV, like regular TV at home. Can't remember the last time I watched like local news or even CNN that wasn't clips that are shared on social media. And so I was watching how the local news was covering the protests. And it's this weird, like, even like when they're not being like so entirely like on the side of the government or the authorities or police or whomever, they still got to play it up both sides. Protesters clash with police.
Right.
No, protesters don't clash with police. Protesters don't have anything to clash with police with. What are you talking about? Clash. Makes it sound like both sides have weapons and are running at each other like a Game of Thrones battle. No, that's not what's happening.
Yeah, not to change the subject, but Prem Tucker, a journalist for Drop Site, shared a video from 2002 of Netanyahu telling the U.S. they definitely should invade Iraq because if you take out Saddam, then there'll be positive reverberations in the region. And so now here we are again, more than 2 decades later, and he's saying, no, we've got to go after Iran now. Just like this guy, like Netanyahu is the biggest terrorist on the earth right now, like hands down. There's no bigger terrorist, no bigger threat to global international peace and stability than him. Like, this dude is such a fucking demon. Like, holy shit.
He is.
Sorry, go ahead.
You described it perfectly, honestly, Mike. He's a terrorist.
Right. Countless deaths on his hands. It's just inconceivable. Like, the fact that this guy is still traveling and not fearful of getting arrested. Like, that's what happens when you have the United States to shield you. Daddy right. US is there to protect you. We've given ourselves permission to invade The Hague if one of our allies gets arrested by the ICC, literally. So, yeah,
Right.
That's America, folks.
Mike,
I don't know
I'm
if you want me
going
to get to super chats.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me just bring the baby. I think mom is out of the bedroom with the two other kids. So she's waking up too.
Okay.
Perfect timing. I'm just gonna bring her to mom. If you want to get started with the super chats, I'll be right back. I'm not leaving the
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll start. All right. Well, we probably won't take too long here, folks. But thank you so much to Frieza for being a member for 8 months. Appreciate you. And Tyler for being a member for 24 months. Thank you so much. Pierce says Benjamin Netanyahu is a literal demon. Yeah, could not agree more. Terrible, terrible person, destabilizing the entire fucking planet. Tokyo Hans, thank you for being a member for 16 months. Appreciate that. Chris Moore says it's a chicken game. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Bello says, does Iran have a right to defend themselves? Yeah, I mean, that's a question. And I think that the answer, unfortunately, is no. That's typically what we've seen. It's might makes right. That's what has basically governed the world. I know we have international law and norms, but really it's just might makes right. So according to the United States and Israel, they do not have a right to defend themselves, as twisted as that is. Let's see here. Carl says, it is all Iran's fault. They had the gall to democratically elect Mohammad Mossadegh, who wanted to use their oil money to benefit the Iranian people. Yeah, Carl's referring to our long history of regime change in Iran. We overthrew their democratically elected leader, Mohammad Mossadegh, and then they basically had a revolution, and now they're a theocracy because of it. We have intervened in Iran. So many, like the extent to which we have fucked up Iran cannot be overstated. We don't believe in self-determination, especially if you have oil or you have any, rare earth minerals or something that we might want. So yeah. Bello says, screw you, Netanyahu. You're here. Carrie says, I thank you, Carrie. That's a very generous super chat. Mike, congrats on Matt's new baby. Thanks for letting us see her. Well, you're very welcome. Ignar says, I'm sick of Dems being cowards. Even Padilla was being a softball with this statement and didn't push hard against these thugs. It's shameful. Yeah, I mean, credit to him for going there. I don't have anything negative to say about him. I'm glad that he's trying to at least get answers from this administration. But there is an article from, I hate to recommend them, The Bulwark, that talks about how House Democrats anonymously are telling the people at The Bulwark that they're coming away from these caucus meetings with Hakeem Jeffries with no direction whatsoever. They have no idea how to respond with any sort of uniformity as a caucus. Some people are saying that Democrats are brushing this off, that is, brushing Trump's deployment of the military to Los Angeles as a distraction. Others are saying they need to have a more direct response like Gavin Newsom. The party's a mess. The party is a mess. Not to mention, they also ousted David Hogg this week. It was on a technicality, but I mean, obviously, it was very beneficial to them. We also heard the DNC chair cry this week on leaked audio talking about how he's stressed out because David Hogg destroyed his chances of, getting his name out there. I'm paraphrasing it. Just the most insane, weak, beta male cuck bullshit I've ever heard in my life. This is why things are so bad, because we do not have an opposition party here. It's just the worst case scenario for us, honestly. Hysteric Raider says, here comes World War III, all to keep BB out of jail. Honestly, yeah. One man, because he doesn't want to go to jail, is keeping all of this up so that way he can save his own ass, and America's just cool with it. Redfire Blue Ice says, Dem should impeach Gnome, but they are too chicken shit. Well, I don't think they would be able to right now because they don't have control. But yeah, even if they did, they would not impeach her because you're right, they are chicken shit. Sam says, thoughts on Simone Biles' tweet against Riley Gaines and her transphobia, and Gaines complaining about her on Fox News when Simone is more accomplished. Yeah, I saw that Simone Biles went after Riley and called her a bully, but then she walked it back, which is something you never do because Riley Gaines was shitting on her on Fox News, saying that she was groveling to her. And I don't think that, Simone Biles, she very clearly doesn't know a lot about this issue. She just was kind of like default support trans rights. But she said something about like, what about an own, a separate trans league or something? I can't remember what she said. So very clearly, she doesn't like. She's not plugged in. She just saw that Riley Gaines was being a piece of shit. But I wish that she didn't take it back. You never apologize to these people. You always double and triple down because they're fucking demons, and you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And I think that, Simone Biles learned that you can never appease these people because, after she apologized and tried to be the bigger person, Riley Gaines was shitting on her. So that's how these people are. Sam also says, did you see Jon Stewart's debate versus Stephen A. Smith? I did. Yeah. I'm glad that he debated Stephen A. Smith because all the things that Jon Stewart was saying were points that I wanted to make to Stephen A. Smith. I'm glad that he made those points to him because I think he's right. And Stephen A. Smith is just kind of, I just feel like he doesn't know what he wants. Like he complains about the far left, but then he conceded to Jon Stewart's point that they're not in power. So it's weird to say that Kamala went too far left in the election. I'm kind of sick of hearing from Stephen A. Smith. He just seems like somebody who wants attention more than anything and is a little bit of a narcissist. And I'm over him. This is from Looney Tunes. Is this from me? No, this is not from me. This is obviously for you. I didn't know if it was a joke though. Okay, Looney Tunes says, saw your content was on This Space today. Hey, very cool. Yeah, everybody check out This Space. It's by The Letter Hack. It's basically a 24/7 news channel with the Leftist Mafia, the Humanist Report, and others. Check it out. Let's see here. Techno APOC says, a federal judge in CA ruled the guard deployment is illegal and issued a restraining order to take effect tomorrow from Associated Press. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I did mention that, but yeah. Not necessarily surprising, but glad it happened. Manny says, Mike, I have a theory that you got a secretly ripped body. Take off your shirt and flex. Give the people what they want. I'll leave you in suspense. I can't confirm nor deny that. Jeremy with a massive $50 super chat. Jeremy, thank you so much. That is very kind. Really appreciate you saying that. Jesus Christ, that's so kind. My ex-fiance was from Iran. Fell in love with her, the food, the culture, everything. I really hope to go someday. Americans so misled about Iran. Remember a few years ago when Iran was only adult in the room. Let's stop making Iran the enemy. They're not. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, say what you will about the government of Iran. All governments are shitty, but the people of Iran are much more progressive than the government. And they're like us. They're just regular human beings. We've kind of been conditioned to think of them as the other, but they're not. And I hope that at least like with our generation, we really start to get away from this us versus them mentality and this idea that like other people who live on the same planet as us are like somehow different or evil and hate us. Like they're just people who want to live their lives. And the people of Iran have done nothing to warrant the ire of the United States government or Israel. It's just sad that they're in this position because they don't deserve it. Nobody does. It's extremely fucked up. Kowalski says, what happened to that California senator? We need to convince Senator Fetterman that ICE is holding the Hamas hostage in one of these ICE facilities. He charged in there like a T-800. That's a good idea, actually. Did you see that Fetterman had dinner with Bannon on his anniversary with his wife? Crazy shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one way to spend your anniversary. Let's see here.
When was this?
This was a couple of days ago that the report came out. Very normal. I remember when Snow White actress Rachel Zegler wished no peace on Trump supporters after the election, and Disney made her apologize. After this, I think we owe her an apology. Absolutely. Trump and his movement, they are literally ruining this fucking country. It's not like we had much hope because we're a late-stage capitalist country in decline. Nonetheless, the acceleration under Donald Trump has been very rapid, and things are getting worse so much fast. That did not make sense. So much faster. Sorry, I'm really tired. The caffeine is not helping. Leftist Ginger, thank you so much for the $19.99 massive super chat. Thank you so much. You all are so generous. Finally got off work early enough to catch the stream live. The world is still in shambles, but I figure out the butt later. Love you all. Love you too. Really appreciate that. Take some time for yourself. Kodachrome says MAGA will not be laughing when California frees itself from the Washington tendrils. I mean, as much as I'd like to think of the idea of like Oregon, Washington, and California breaking off and becoming Cascadia, I just don't think that that's something that that is feasible. It'd be nice if we could join Canada, become the 11th province. That'd be ideal, but America would not let that happen. Looney Tunes says, send everyone here on YouTube to this space. We are still streaming. Okay, we'll do. We'll do. That's who we'll raid after if they're on Twitch. Rachel says, shouldn't Bender be changing poopy diapers now? I think that he did have his turn on dad duty, so I think he's set. I'm sure he has. All right, Matt, the rest are yours. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick though while you read, and then I'll pull them up for you after I get back.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh wait, I actually have because the other stream went up. There were a few super chats on there, so I'm gonna pull those up. I have them. Let me pull them up on my screen here. They're gonna go over my face because I'm gonna do it in my virtual camera here. We got Bay Photo, member for 23 months. Congratulations to you and your family, Matt. Thank you so much, Bay Photo. I really appreciate that. Oh, I just noticed that Wanda post. It's not a super chat, but we need a baby Bender icon now. I should make chat icons of all three of my kids, and they would enjoy that, I bet. And then we got a few super chats here. Wanda, member for 23 months, super chat. Congratulations to Binder on the birth of his beautiful daughter. Thank you so much, Wanda. Chris with a $5 super chat. This super is in support of your natalism for the left campaign. Let me read this next one, and I'll get back to that. And then Tokyo Hans, member for 23 months, super chat. Congrats on the new baby. Make sure to let your partner get plenty of rest. Yep, that's why well, not totally why, because she was doing bedtime with the other two. But part of the reason I'm taking Effie when I was doing these streams is to give her time to do what she's got to do. And as soon as we're done here, I will be doing that again. Can you believe I haven't played Fortnite in 3 days? I can't believe it. It's been brutal. I am feeling tired. Like, for sure. I know people are like, how does he do it? I'm not a superhuman. I definitely feel tired. But I think I'm just like, generally amped up on adrenaline and caffeine to begin with. So I'm doing it. Oh, Mike's back.
Yes.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say too, I'm glad that Mike joined me tonight because I don't even know if we explained the beginning of the show. I was running late because I had to do kid things. We just gotten home from my oldest son's soccer practice, and we didn't eat dinner, so I had to deal with that with them. And Mike was in here alone, and so he wasn't sure if he should do the show
with Lance. Lance was doing his stream though, so yeah.
I mean, you and me and you just did over an hour of the show. There's no excuse why you and Lance couldn't do it.
Listen, I was this close to logging off and taking a nap. I checked my DMs though, like an idiot, and Matt's like, "I'm ready. Let's do the show. Come on." I'm like, "No, I'm good. And I'm like, oh, "Okay, I'll do the show." Fuck.
What is it about me? Why could you do a 2-person show with me, but you couldn't do a 2-person show at Lance? Am I just that talented of a broadcaster?
No, I'm just really tired today. Like, I feel like I'm just very burned out, and the news about Israel bombing Iran did not help me with my like political fatigue. Not that I'm gonna bury my head in the sand, but it's just like there's just so much, and you reach a point where you feel like you don't know what else to say anymore because you've said everything, and you just want to like take a break from it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just like burnt out and also like physically tired too.
I hear you. And then you saw me say, "Hey, let's do the show," and you were you just got the power to do the show because of me.
I grabbed some soda. I'm like, okay, I need caffeine.
What soda are you drinking? What is that? I didn't know. I didn't
Pepsi.
recognize the can. Oh, okay.
Sponsored by Pepsi.
Was that what kind of Pepsi is that?
Diet Pepsi. Oh, that's the only kind. Yeah.
Now you need
I
the
usually
full-blown
drink Dr. Pepper.
You need the full blown.
Oh, I can't do that.
No.
I can't. The sugar. The last time I had actual like soda pop, just regular, non-diet, I felt awful. Like I felt like death. I think it's just because I'm an old man. The sugar just does not bode well with my body. I can't do sugar. I've got to have fake sugar. It's the only way I can survive.
All right, let's go to the super chats here.
All right. The first one's here from Nepal.
All right. $10 super chat from Nepal. Matt, I really appreciate you steering me away from Tim Pool all those years ago. It made a huge difference in helping me move on from his influence. Thank you. Oh, wow. I would love to hear more another day about this. Wow, that makes me feel really good. I appreciate that. I've heard people who've said that, my show and the Majority Report helped, but this seems to be a very specific, me specifically steering you away from Tim Pool and how that helped. I would love to hear more about that. Tokyo Hans with a super chat. Israel, stop all that noise. You'll wake the baby. I don't think they care about babies.
Yeah.
John Jeffrey with a super chat. Kind of looks like you're breastfeeding. I mean, she was drinking out of a pacifier. Listen, if I could breastfeed, I would help out in that way too, let me tell you. But I cannot. Alas, I cannot. Tokyo Hans gifted 5 memberships.
Oh, yeah. I got 5 in my old stream, the other one. I got 5 from John Lithium. John, shout out to you. I'm sorry, I almost forgot. Really appreciate you, John. Thank you so much.
And now let's go to Carrie Shaw with a $50 super chat. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Carrie. Congrats on the new member of the family. I really appreciate that, Carrie. Shabugan with a super chat. As an Australian, I've never wanted us to get out of the AUKUS agreement as bad as I do right now. What a farce your country is. Oh, let me tell you, I completely agree. Yeah. I don't know all the details of the AUKUS agreement, but you're not hurting my feelings by knocking the U.S. I'll tell you that much.
I feel so bad for every other country in the world because they don't even get a say. They don't get to vote, but our country affects so much, and I feel so bad. Like on behalf of every American, I am genuinely sorry, people of the world. Goddamn, we are such wreckers internationally. It's just terrible.
Let's go to Catherine Wolf with a super chat. I called MR about a month ago about starving the beast. Now that Newsom has brought it up, what do you guys think? Blue Gov's tax revolt together. I would need to know more. I completely think that a point should be made about how, blue states are basically the funding the federal government and the rest of the country pretty much, aside from maybe like Texas. Yeah, I mean, I would need to see more. I also think a lot of times people forget that there's a decent amount of people who aren't Republicans in red states. Like there are red states that, go like 60-40. That's 40% of people who didn't ask for what they're getting. That's a good chunk of people. I don't want them punished. I don't want them to feel any pain. I also don't want the innocent parties of those who vote red to feel any pain either, honestly. There's kids whose parents of Republicans who not old enough to vote, who should not feel the brunt of their parents, what their parents voted for. Honestly, I mean, the idiot in me is also saying that even those people who vote Republican shouldn't feel the pain either. Maybe I'm a softie in that way, but especially the people who didn't vote for it shouldn't feel any pain.
Mm-hmm.
Renee with a super chat. You cannot be a pacifist once fascism arrives. Stop deporting abuelitas, then you won't have a revolt. Hashtag Battleship Potemkin. Yeah, I mean, I think that was the point I was making before about the protests, right? Although you have a much more slogan-y way of putting it, Renee. You should look into branding and stuff like that. You probably make good money. Stop deporting abuelitas, then you won't have a revolt. It's pretty good. Looney Tunes 9000, congrats on the new baby, Matt. Thank you so much, Looney Tunes. Renee with 2 in a row. Here we go. Congratulations, Matt and Papa Binder, by the way. Some good news. Thank you so much. And Renee also says they use the cameras on Waymos for surveillance. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
Do they really?
I don't have any I should be clear. I don't have anything to back that up. I just said that it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, think about it this way. Are they actively using the cameras as surveillance? It wouldn't surprise me if I heard no, obviously. That wouldn't shock me if it was a no. If there's a crime or the police need someone's information who is ostensibly in the area of the Waymo at the time and police asked Waymo for it, I'm sure Waymo would provide it if they had it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would.
Bay Photo with a super chat. The military probably doesn't have enough troops to fight Iran and occupy every American city. Dystopian silver linings. I mean, they probably do, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, Trump doesn't need military in the American cities. That's all for show. He'll pull them out the second he needs to, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if Israel genuinely is at risk and they need the United States to mobilize, you bet your ass troops will be there ASAP. Guarantee it.
Tony Rizzo, the super chat, member for 15 months. I remember flipping my bike and clashing with the pavement. Grats on kiddo number 3. As a middle child, I think kids are best in odd numbers. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. And I'll agree, at least until I can confirm that there won't be a 4th. Jasmine with a super chat. Rubio said that because the U.S. empire is collapsing. Bay Photo with a super chat. In order to get Dems to fight effectively, we have to tell them Trump is David Hogg. That's pretty good. I like that, Bay Photo.
Yeah. Clever.
Kowalski with a $10 super chat. Matt, please congratulate your baby mama that she has adorable children and she should be very proud. I'm still working on finding you that station wagon or minivan. Thank you, Kowalski. And for anyone who's wondering, my partner, my wife, she is not interested. She's a private individual. She has literally social media on Instagram to follow her favorite knitting and crocheting influencers. She is not like me. She is not a person who goes. She does not want her life broadcasted in any way. She shares my politics. I met her through the punk scene in school, but she's not. That's why you don't see her. She has no interest. It would probably ruin her life if she decided to start showing up on. She doesn't like that stuff. She doesn't like being a public figure.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you, Kowalski. Lizzie Bennett with a super chat. Any thoughts on tonight's mayoral debate if you got to see it? Congrats on your latest bundle of joy. Thank you so much, Lizzie. I did not get to see it. I hope Zoran Mamdani kicked ass, and I'm sure he did because he's been very
tuning
good.
in after this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to watch it, and maybe we'll stream some clips of it next time around. There is. Oh, I thank you for the reminder, Lizzie. New York early voting starts Saturday.
Wow.
If you're not going to be here on Tuesday, June 24th, or for any reason you think you won't be able to go out and vote on Tuesday, June 24th, like, for example, if I thought my daughter who came on June 10th was going to come just 2 weeks later, that's Tuesday, 2 weeks later, I would have early voted. If you are expecting a child on June 24th or have any other reason to miss it, please early vote, get your votes in. I really do think Zoran Mamdani has a real good shot at winning this, but it is going to come down to every single vote. Every vote is going to count. Do not be surprised to find out that someone wins or loses based on tens or dozens or even a few hundred votes, honestly. It is going to be that close, I think. And he has the ability to really pull it off. He is surging in the polls right now. I mean, I don't know what else, like with everything bad going on, I can't think of a more like a good uplifting story than a young Democratic socialist who's been a state senator, who has been running this campaign longer than pretty much almost any other of the candidates, who's been running an awesome campaign, truly focused on policies that will help people and that things he can actually do. He's not saying things that, he's got to go through such and such to get to. Everything, every policy proposal he's been proposing is in the purveyor of the mayoralship. He can do it. The mayor can freeze rent stabilized apartment rent. He can do that. Bill de Blasio did it 3 times on his own. The mayor can do that. He is not promising anything that he can't do on his own. Let's go to B Buccaneer with a $12 super chat. Congratulations, Daddy Binder. Thank you so much, B Buccaneer. Tylee Meow Lala with a super chat. Day one fan here. I love Leftist Mafia. You and Matt, this might be for you, Mike, but you and Matt deserve 1 million subscribers now. Make based clickbait. Antidepressants have been coming mad clutch lately. Yeah, I'm actually, with the kid being born, I'm going to have a few weeks off. I am going to try to, obviously spend time with the kids. But once, they have just a week or 2 left of school, and then they're going to have to do camps, so they're going to be busy. And the hours where I'm not with the baby, I'm going to try to do some clips. I am going to fully launch the newsletter. I'm going to launch a full-blown campaign in the same way that, if you'll remember, Michael Brooks did when he launched the Michael Brooks Show. I'm going to need all of your support if possible. I am going to try to make a full run at doing this. I've been saying I'm going to try for years, but I'm just going to go for it now. I'm going to need your help to get me there if you can. If you can afford to, obviously. If you can't, I'm not begging you to give me money. If you can give me money, I'm gonna start paywalling some of the articles, stuff like that. We're gonna really go full throttle here to try to make this a real deal, regular media thing where I'm sharing content and breaking news, if not daily, as often as possible. But gonna try to go for daily. All right, I'll let you guys know about it. So stay tuned.
That's cool. I'm glad you're doing that. It's about time. But this one was for me. Thank you, Tylee.
I appreciate it.
I was going in chronological order, so okay. You'll have to tell me which one is the next one for you, because I did get some more in.
Okay, hold on. I got to check on my. I wasn't even going by. I usually check my own feed here. Let's see.
I think this one, because
Sanity Plate is for me. Yep.
Okay.
Sanity Plate, maybe a naive question, but do you think we could make our own opposition party, citing the Justice Dems as a kind of a precedent? No. I think what Zoran Mamdani and AOC and Bernie Sanders have done is show that this is the way. This is the way. We gotta go. We gotta keep taking it further. We gotta keep fighting. But we would basically be starting at square zero. Think about everything that we've accomplished since Bernie Sanders' run in 2016 against Hillary, and how like Democratic Socialists, the DSA, obviously, and all these other left-wing candidates and groups, the Rashida Tlaibs and Ilhan Omars. This wouldn't be possible with a third party, an opposition party. We must fully take over the Democratic Party. Maybe it'll take a couple more years for the old guard to die off. I mean, they're sure doing a good job of dying off right now as it is. But it's this is the way. This is the way. It sucks that it's going to take long, and we've been patient, and but this is the way. It's part of it too is that there's too many people, regular voters, the vast majority of people, regular voter. I'm not talking about primary voters, regular voters, general election voters, who are comfortable Republican, comfortable Democrat. There's not enough who's going to vote third party.
Okay.
Next super
I believe
chat for
this
me
is the next one
is
for you.
Yep, Riddlor CVE with a $10 super chat. Congrats on the baby. Play the song next where Matt Riddle. Oh my God! I said I'd play it the next week, and I forgot everything going on. It was probably the worst week to say I was going to play it with the baby and everything. I promise you, we will play the song next week. I will be fully settled in back home with the baby for a week. Everyone should be back next week. Hockey should be over, I'm assuming, right? David Dole should be here. We will do it. I promise.
Sure.
Rachel Atwood with a super chat. Are you familiar with the Skins character, Effie? True story. That's where my wife got the name from. That was her favorite show. We were the perfect age when Skins was out. Skins was a show like what, in like 2004, 2005, 2006, right? We were like juniors, seniors in high school, going into college, freshmen in college. We were the perfect demographic for Skins, yes. And she loved that show. I liked it. It was a good show, but it wasn't special to me, but it was her favorite show. It might still be her favorite show, and that's where she got the name Effie from. Let's see.
There's somebody in the chat defending capitalism, and they're pissing me off, but I'm gonna try to ignore that because I'm too tired to respond to that. But person in the chat, I see you, and you're so wrong. They're just defending capitalism, and they're so obviously wrong. But I'm gonna ignore that because I'm too tired. I can't engage at this point.
Let's go to Guamo with a super chat. Hey, so who's Baby Binder's favorite punk band? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go with Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Let's go with Rudy Medeiros with a $25 super chat. Thank you so much, Rudy. Congratulations on the new baby. Wish you lots of sleep. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need that sleep tonight, and then I'll be refreshed because I've been sleeping on a couch in the hospital room for the past 2 or 3 nights. I don't really know anymore. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, yeah, 2 nights. So I need probably won't be a good night's rest, but at least a few hours in an actual bed. Tokyo Hans with a super chat. We need way less of Waymo. Am I right? I'll see myself out. Yes, Tokyo Hans. Very funny. Very good. Notoriously Bratty with a super chat. Congrats on the beautiful baby girl, deserving of $30 and 250 pencils. Absolutely. She will get $30 and 250 pencils. I don't care what anyone says. Tariffs or not, inflation or not, $30 and 250 pencils. That was very good. Super chat. Notoriously Bratty. The Synapsis with a super chat. Congrats, 23 months a member. Thank you. Congrats, Binder. All the best for your family. Also, great shirt, Mike, and all the best for you and yours. Tropical Ding Dong with a super chat. You should ask Matt Leck to stream on your account. Just doing an impression of you for the entirety of your break. Offer no explanations. Oh no, I will be here for you guys. Let me make this clear. My break is for my full-time job. I will be continuing. You'll notice no difference in the majority report. I will be there as usual Monday. I mean, in fact, Sam had asked me to not take away from Matt Leck. Matt Leck did a great job, but Sam had he'd reached out to me seeing if I was available to host, and I said my baby could be born this week probably. So I gotta for your sake, you should go with Matt Leck. You should pass and go with someone who can definitely do it. And Matt Leck was great from what I understand. No surprise there though. Matt Leck is always great. But I will be there on the Thursdays as regular. I will be there on Majority Report and Leftist Mafia. I'll let you know about my regular stream. I plan on trying to keep that going, but it's a little bit more work to do a solo stream with the baby. If the baby started to cry, Mike was here to take over while I would brought her inside. I can't do that during a solo stream.
I would take care of the baby. I just take the baby in the other room. Give her
right.
bottle.
You would. I would. Wouldn't it be hilarious if I could just hand over and you were able to just put your hands off screen and the baby showed up. And my final super chat here, PB with a $10 super chat for diapers. I guess she's beautiful. Congratulations to you and your loving wife. Thank you, PB. Everything will be helpful in some way. Honestly, diapers, wipies. Potentially formula. We've been doing it. My wife does the breastfeeding for all the kids, but those first couple of days before it gets in, you do need some formula. So otherwise the baby's going to be a maniac, super hungry and everything. So we've had to spend some money on formula. $10 is super helpful. I really appreciate it, PB.
Okay, before I have a couple more super chats, I'm going to respond to the capitalism person real quick with just some book recommendations, okay? They said socialism, I'm so sorry, I have to do this.
No, do it.
They said capitalism doesn't work, just look at Venezuela. Okay. Person, if you're still in the chat, read this
Capitalism
book. It's called
doesn't
Comandante.
work? Did they mean
socialism doesn't work, excuse me. Yeah. Hugo Chavez proved that socialism works, and he did it with the threat of foreign intervention from the United States, a coup attempt. He proved that it works, unquestionably. So after you read that, then you're going to read this. It's called Capitalism's Crisis Deepens by Professor Richard Wolff. If you read both of these books and you are still convinced that socialism does not work and that capitalism is great, then I'll give you a pass. But you are stupid. And you haven't fought through the cognitive dissonance. But those are the two books you have to read. That's your assignment, okay? So go read those books. Okay, I'm so tired. I don't know why I have to respond to that. Okay.
That was a great response, honestly. I mean, for the time you wanted to give it. If to that person, if you message us on a regular show with everybody here and we start on time and we're not exhausted from the birth of babies and whatever Mike is exhausted about, we will actually interact with that, our own.
Yes. I always outsource thinking to authors and professors when I don't have the brain power, and that's what I just did. So yeah, definitely check out those books. Great reads in general, even if you're socialist.
Was that the $100 super chat? Is that why you responded?
No, I just saw somebody that
super chat.
Is there? Oh shit! Yeah. My entire right when you said that, my entire YouTube backend just crashed. Let me see. I don't know if that's for me. Yeah, that is for me. Wow. Okay, yeah, that's coming up. Okay. Let me read them. I don't have too much, so let me go through these here. Sorry, everybody. They have their assignments, so now I can move on. Okay. Lizzie says it's the BS that Netanyahu does that makes Jewish people like me unsafe. So around 2025, fuck Netanyahu and Zionism. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel for you, Lizzie. You're absolutely right to feel that way. Fatty Pancake 15, thank you so much. Very generous super chat. Love your channel, guys. Been watching for a while. Question, since America is in late stage capitalism, what comes after fascism? Things always change after all. I'm curious about your thoughts. It's hard to say, honestly. I would like to think that if we're able to weather that storm, maybe something better will be on the other end, but it's so hard to tell. Like Germany, after fascism collapsed there, and it was a very extreme form of capitalism, so it's not a 1-1. They had a great democracy for a while. I mean, Germany was always my ideal political system. They had like 5 to 6 political parties. I think that's a good number. You don't want to have too much. Like, people look at Brazil, they have like 16 or 17 political parties. People start new parties all the time. I think that's too much because then there's just no ideological coherency to the parties. You want strong-ish parties, but you just want a variety. I think that I believe Germany has like a mixed member proportional. Amazing system. So it's possible that things could get better, but it's going to get a lot worse if we really like if we go through a deepening fascism crisis. So it's really hard to say. I'm going to tell myself that it's going to get better after fascism, but I genuinely don't know. ABS says World War III, Civil War II, and war to succeed from the Union on top of a nuclear holocaust. What would you do if it all happened at the same time? ABS, I'd probably be dead, so I wouldn't be worrying about it. No, I don't know. Listen, here's the thing. It's easy to feel powerless in these situations, and that's because we are. At least with regard to like the international situation, we have no control, so you can't like be sick over it. I know that's easy to say, and it's kind of fucked up to say, but like you have no control over it, so you can't worry yourself sick about this. You know, there's only so much that you can do to pay attention and stay informed, but it's out of our hands at this point in time. We can't control World War III's start or not. I mean, sure, we're culpable because our government would be a part of that. So, you know, we pay taxes to fund the destruction, but I mean, aside from that, as individuals, we really can't do much. So, I guess I would just try to not die if that happened, like everybody else would, right? Autistic Goblin. I'm sorry not to be grim, but you know, that's if assuming that all were to happen at the same time, it's quite a bit. So you know, it'd be very difficult to survive that. You know, I'm not sure that surviving but living in like a Fallout 4-esque apocalypse would be preferable. So you know, it would be we discuss it then, right? Autistic Goblin says, Mike, I've spent the week listening to Hassan and painting signs for Saturday. My rage posters. Gonna share them with my fellow angry white mobs. Hell yeah, I know you've been working hard on those posters. Yeah, very, very cool. Last week on our Patreon call, Autistic Goblin was working on signs for the No Kings protest coming up this Saturday, by the way. So yeah, very cool. Very cool that you're doing that. It's a good way to kind of like burn some negative energy, I think, and you know, it's therapeutic. And on that note, Jeremy actually says, don't forget No Kings Saturday. Yeah, No Kings protest this Saturday. That is going to be huge based on like how many events are going to take place. So that's encouraging. Tamales 21 says, if people take their money out of the bank, we can make Trump bankers problem. The bankers problem. The bankers play with our money, make them pay for their own hookers. I mean, I think that there's a variety of things that Americans can do. That a general strike, certain kinds of boycotts. It's just a matter of like coordination because, you know, things like that don't work unless enough people do it. But, you know, I think that it's a good idea if there was some organizational muscle behind that, you know, like labor unions and progressive organizations and whatnot. Sizzle, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate that. And they add, help, sign ideas for the No Kings rally, and are you going? I'm going to check out to see the one nearest me. I don't know how close it is. I'm sure there's multiple taking place, but I might turn out. It depends on what I'm doing that day, because I have a bunch of shit going on, but I might try to make it to that, even if I hate being around people, and large crowds in particular. Sign ideas. That's hard. You're putting me on the spot. I don't know. Something about like, I would probably say ICE is the modern day Gestapo, or fuck fascism, but like censor it. I don't know. It's hard because like I'm being put on the spot and I'm not very creative. So maybe the chat will help. I'll outsource this to the chat. Sign ideas right now. Go.
Yeah. I'm too tired to offer you anything. I'm sorry. I wish I could be more of a help.
Yeah, that's my... I feel like I'm scraping the bottom of my energy reserves to talk on this stream. So
because sign ideas require some like creative process, not even just like analytical or I need,
Right.
my creative juices are not flowing right now. I need to be at 100% for that to happen.
And it's got to be clever so it's memorable, and I'm just not your guy for that, unfortunately. Okay, Dirty Pirate, $20. Thank you so much. Very, very big super chat. Appreciate that. Thoughts on DeSantis harkening back to empowering motorists to hit protesters if they feel threatened? General tips for those planning on protesting this weekend. Congrats, Matt, and thanks for all you guys do. We'll appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. DeSantis has reiterated that he thinks that people should be able to run over protesters again and again. I think they even passed a bill that decriminalizes it. In terms of like whether or not a motorist will be held liable if they run over protesters, so long as there's this like idea that they were fleeing for safety or something like that. I don't know. It's fucked up. So that man is a sociopath, so that does not surprise me. Tips for protesting this weekend: definitely bring water. Maybe bring a couple, so
it's gonna
that
be hot
way you can.
in a lot of states. Yeah.
Right. Bring water because you don't want to feel like you're dying of thirst when you're out there. And I'd say, honestly, I would wear a hat. I'd wear sunglasses if I were you. If you wear a mask, like I always recommend wearing masks, but that like all of a sudden that is making you, like there's a lot of smearing of protesters who wear masks, rightfully so. I'd say wear a hat.
Not rightfully so. No, I think you're misunderstanding. You're misspeaking.
Oh, I mean like, people are, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Like, so people usually cover their faces because they can't trust like the government or whatnot and the cops. And so there's more fear about doing that because they're worried that it would make them a target of police and whatnot. Because there's this like smearing of protesters that cover their faces as if they're criminals and they're up to no good.
Right.
So yeah, like, wear a COVID mask maybe, so that way you can say it. It's just bring at least a hat, right? Like cover your identity because I don't trust these people. I don't trust the cops, and you shouldn't either. So like, take precautions. Just protect your identity. But aside from that,
have your phone fully charged and be ready to record anything you see, even if it doesn't involve you. You could record something that the authorities are doing to someone else. That could be very helpful in their case to show that they did not do what the police claimed they were doing and that it was the police that was the aggressor. So just be ready to record any sort of confrontation or incident you see.
Yeah. And if you wear a mask and they question you, say, hey, why are you covering your face? You could just be like, I'm an ICE agent. And be like, oh, okay. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, a Dirty Pirate, thank you for that. The next one is Jeremy Elwood. Thank you so much. My goodness, $100 super chat. Jeremy, that is so kind. You also sent another super chat that I think was like also really big. Jeremy, thank you so much. That is so kind. Yeah, Jeremy also sent a $50 super chat. Jeremy, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Never ever expected, but truly, really appreciate your generosity. Can't afford, but worth saying. We need to stand with Israel, Palestine, Iran, Ukraine, and even Russia. Need to stand with people because they're the ones suffering. Stand with U.S., Mexico, Canada. Stand with whenever because we all there is. No borders when it comes to humanity. Let's be humane. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, I'm right there with you. That's why I consider myself a humanist. I think that like these artificial borders that we've drawn are all arbitrary. We shouldn't be deemed less than simply because of like an area we were born. I think that's insane. We all should do our very best to make sure that the human experience is as good and painless as possible. It's already bad without bullshit from other human beings in politics. So I think that if we see ourselves as like fellow humans and not others, then I think that mentality is it seems naive, but that's how you make the world a better place. The problem is that there's too much competing interests and capitalism that kind of corrupts that. But yeah, I appreciate that sentiment a lot, Jeremy. And thank you so much for the super chat. Redfire says, Mike, love the new anime shirt, Demon Slayer. Yeah, I've actually had this for a while, but yeah, thank you. Glad you like that. I love Demon Slayer. Tokyo Han says, great shirt. Thank you so much. Appreciate the compliments. Rachel says, BRST, Formula Goat, whatever. Fed is best.
Oh, that's for me. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
Oh, it's for you. Okay, sorry. Okay. Then another one from Jeremy here. I think this one's for me. Apparently need to clarify by stand with Israel. I mean, people not. No. I know what you meant. Individuals, like human beings. I was picking up what you were putting down, Jeremy, for sure. Aku Kami, thank you for the 10. Anything helps, man. Congratulations. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's see. Lizzie says, I'm a sock dem, so maybe I'm a bit to the right of you on economic issues. We're still correct. Of course we're still cool. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone who's not a fascist is somebody who I can be cool with. If you're a liberal, I might, have some side eyes for you, but you're a sock dem. You're okay. You're cool. Rowan says, you make a good father, Matt. I wish mine was more like you. Well, thank you, Rowan, for saying that about Matt. Appreciate you sending me the super chat to tell Matt that.
Thank you, Rowan. That's very nice of you. I appreciate that.
Autistic Goblin says, eat the rich. Human rights are not optional. Power of people is greater than people in power. Power over profit. Abolish ICE. Jesus was a socialist. Indeed he was. Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Let's see here. I think that one is for you. So I have 2 left. You had some more come in. Rachel says Park Rose Permaculture will be at Portland rallies. I love Park Rose. Yeah, I think she's more of a liberal than I am, but I still appreciate a fellow Portland content creator. And I'm not a liberal at all. I kind of like underhandedly insulted myself there. I apologize to myself for implying that I'm even somewhat of a liberal, because I'm not a liberal, but I'm trying to say that we probably fucking tired. No disrespect to Primrose or Park Rose, but yeah, I think we probably have a little bit of disagreement on where we fall in the ideological spectrum. But like Lizzie, and I think she's an ally. So yeah, I appreciate her. Shout out to a fellow Portland content creator. I did apologize to myself. I got to make sure I don't accidentally call myself a liberal. No self-hate or insulting of myself. Emma Tate, thanks for the. I'm so fucking tired. My brain is fucking mashed potatoes. Okay, Emma Tate. This is my final one. Thank you, Emma. Very, very generous super chat. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask y'all's opinion on techie lefties teaching GPG, PGP, and other encryption suits for information and operation security for protesting and mobilization. I couldn't tell you, honestly, because I'm not really familiar with that. I think you all know I'm a boomer, so I don't necessarily know. But if other lefties are trying to teach people about these kinds of things, I think that's great. I think that everybody has their role to play. Lanzetta, don't call me a liberal. How dare you? No, I think that, on a serious note, I think everybody has their role to play. And, if you have expertise in this field and it's useful, you think it could be used, I think that's great. So yeah, I'm all for it. Okay, I got a couple more while I was reading that. Leftist Ginger with a 20 super chat. Thank you so much, Leftist Ginger. Again, really, really nice, huge super chat. Thank you so much. Sign idea, a riff on Serge Tankian's song, Figure It Out. Top of the sign, figure it out, and below, billionaires are the disease instead of CEOs are the disease, like in the song, because billionaires are worse than CEO. There's one recommendation. Chris Corcoran says, Matt looked like he was breastfeeding his baby, like Mr. Boss from Smiling Friends. Well, maybe he was. I'm not really sure. Okay, the rest are for you.
All right. Guamo with a super chat. So almost a 2-hour, not full, quick, short, impromptu show. Once again, congrats, Matt. Right. For us, though, like 2 hours is a short show.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tokyo Hans, sign idea. Flammable Waymos melt ice. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good one. Red Fire Blue Ice with a super chat. Congrats on your newest member to the fam, Matt. I appreciate it. Wanda with a super chat. Do you and your wife have Amazon wish lists? Rebecca actually mentioned how we should put together a registry. We had one, but like for family, because the asks on there were not the things we would ask for other people, and it wasn't hiding our address and stuff like that, like you can do if you want to share a public one. I'm going to talk with her about putting together a registry. Honestly, the thing I mentioned about I want to make a real go at this for real this time. And if I'm going to do have a subscription that's going to be like a real media company subscription. That would be, if you can afford to do that, obviously that would be a huge help, because that's going to obviously set us up, hopefully, in the way I would like it to, like as a full-time thing. So I will keep you guys updated on both of those. But thank you on that. I appreciate the interest in that. Over on Twitch really quick, just a few things. Lux Progressive rated my channel. Thank you so much, Lux Progressive. Rude Dog 2525 resubscribed with Prime, subscriber for 25 months. Thank you. And Valis Nova gave out 10 community gift subs. Thank you so much, Valis Nova. All right, I think that's everything. I think, Mike. Did we do it?
I think so. I think it's a good place to call it. I wanted to raid this space. I actually don't think that they're on Twitch. At least they're not coming up. So, thank you so much to Jeremy, who just sent in another gifted membership. Thank you so much, Jeremy. I saw your gifted memberships before as well. I want you to know that I definitely saw that and didn't miss it. Thank you so much. Should we just raid into Hassan so that way everybody could watch his coverage? Because I'm sure it's pretty good. He doesn't need our raid, but I'm sure people would like to tune into Hassan.
Yeah, well, who's on right now? Let's see, just in case there's someone to actually help out with a raid.
I only have 19 people, so
all right.
On Twitch.
Well, actual Jake is on, and he's covering. He'll actually notice our raid. Again, this isn't like a knock on Hassan. It's just that Hassan has so many viewers, he's not going to notice our raid. Our total of less than 100 viewers is not going to make a dent in the 53,400 people watching his stream right now.
That's nothing.
All right, so I'm going to do we're going to raid actual Jake.
Okay. I'm queuing that up.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for the kind words. I'm glad I forced Mike to do this show that no one else on Leftist Mafia showed up for.
Pastor. I would have been waking up from a nap right now feeling so much more refreshed.
Well, what time is it? Isn't it like only like 7 o'clock by you right now?
It's 8. It's 8:16.
Oh, it's
early.
It's 11:16 here, my friend. You have a whole night ahead of you. Take your nap and then wake up and then watch a movie.
Well, now it's too late. It's a little bit too late for a nap. I might not be able to fall asleep, but it's okay.
No, it's not.
I might not be able to fall asleep if I nap now. We'll see.
All right. I'm filling up that raid. Are you filling it up over for
it's
actual
ready to
Jake?
go whenever.
All right, hold on. Mine's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, I'm going to hit that raid button. Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Thank you, Kiara, on Twitch for the tier 1 sub. All right, we'll see you all next week.